Yeah, those are very good ways to go, in which to go. And then for pediatrics in particular, that's really important because when you're sitting and thinking about preventive and promotive interventions, they cut across. They are life-saving. You prevent disease in the first instance. So rather than come with a curative approach, and I think that really is, what do you call this? It's relevant for both of all settings.
So do you think Nairobi will be involved in some of the science related to that?
For sure, yes. Yeah, for sure, yes. Yeah, we do know that there is a government commitment to having some vaccines produced in Nairobi, and we look forward. In fact, even medications as well, because since the COVID time, sometimes importations can be problematic, and so if we can get good quality generics, especially so for children, which are effective, which are safe, which are made in country, it's actually a good thing for the region. So that we don't have to pay so much for the medications, and that they're easily available without needing to import.
Pauline, how was your meeting with the neonatal section?
It was amazing. Yeah, so one, you have a much larger neonatal section than we do. You have a lot more fellows, more faculty, more beds. And one of the things that I learned today, well, we have a few similar problems, but one of the things that I saw today was the oxygen model and the fact that they have much newer ventilators, SL6000, and the fact that I could, we can tightly control oxygenation for preterms and therefore avoid retinopathy or prematurity. So as neurologists, when I receive these children, they've already gone through this process, they have low vision or a vision impairment, there's not much we can do. So once again, a preventive approach, which is really excellent and timely, because tertiary units, we will always receive the sickest babies, the babies that need us the most. So if there's anything we can do so that we're able to deliver safe care, we really should go for it. So the oxygen model was very good to see. Very good to see simple, effective, preventive measures like having a protector for the nasal cannulae so that you do not have an injury to the nasal area. And I think there was 1 out of 20 intubated babies. It doesn't mean that the rest weren't requiring high pressure and oxygen. What they did was they were doing NIV, non-invasive ventilation, as some form of CPAP, but they're only just using high flow nasal cannulas. So that's another thing we need to use a lot more of. And the nurse was very clear that they have had a lot less IVH. Intraventricular hemorrhage since they stopped ventilating so many, intubating so many babies. So that was excellent. Very good to see. I'm taking that back with me,
Many years ago when I was training, every preterm baby had intraventricular hemorrhage.
Exactly.
It was just a given.
Yeah, and that's really bad because you see, whenever you have intraventricular hemorrhage, even if it's just a type 1 geminomatrix hemorrhage, it just means that the outcome, the neurological outcome for the preterm is so much worse, Yeah, because once the neurons around the periventricular region die, then it just means the possibility for motor problems is so much more significantly higher. And then now these are not things you can fix, they've already happened. Yeah, so it's very good to see.
So is your focus still on neonatology? To set up neonatology in AQ Nairobi? I mean, was there any discussion you had with regards to training?
Oh yeah, sure. Yes, we did. And we felt that, if we could have some more crosstalk, and the section head in neonatology is willing to help us with maybe trying to, sort out the licensure issue. Why? Because if you're not going to come and do everything yourself, at least you should be able to examine the baby, suggest treatments, understand, because that's how medicine is taught. It's an apprenticeship. So whenever it is that you're going to an environment where you're only observing, your takeaway and your experience is that much less. So I'm just hopeful we will be able to have our fellows come over for some time. I don't know if your fellows ever want to come to Nairobi, but these are discussions that we definitely can hold. Yeah. For neurology, we also had a meeting this morning with Shanaz, and one of the things we're thinking about is meetings where we can discuss our complex cases, because we have so many things in common.
And they already have one, that.
They have one locally. Yeah, but not with us. We have one locally as well. It's a multidisciplinary team meeting we hold every Tuesday. The radiologists and the peds neurology team and the adult neurology team, and we kind of share cases. Of course, adult neurology is very different from peds neurology, but radiology wise, we learn a lot from each other. Yeah, so with the local team here, because they have more pediatric neurologists I think they see a bit more pathology than we see in Agakhane.
There's more diversity actually.
Exactly. There's social
Diverse.
The diversity here is much larger. We see less pathology. So it would be, especially for neuromuscular disorders, we decided to collaborate on that. Yeah, because we don't see that much and they have so many. And yeah, the other really interesting discussion I had today was with Salman, which was supposed to be 30 minutes. We ended up talking for a whole hour. Yes, and we'll be talking about Down syndrome and having a registry together and, looking at what it is we can do together. Because Down syndrome is very diverse, but it's not a syndrome. Yeah, so we've got lots of learnings to do there.
I would like for us at some point to list down the things and maybe prioritize.
For sure.
And I know we should have had a debrief, but we did not.
It's fine.
Maybe when you go
today,
back, we can get on a call together
Very true.
and hash out, because I really want something to come out of this. So planning to get our vice chairs and myself to come visit you.
Exactly.
Maybe in a couple of months, so that we have some, some,
maybe by end
we
of quarter
take
one,
some,
2024.
end of 2024.
No, quarter one. End of
Quarter one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Not so far. Don't stay too long before you come. Otherwise, then the agenda gets lost in the mix. We all get
That's
busy
the
with other
worry,
things.
right?
Once
Yes.
you've finished all your appraisals and everything, then please come over to Nairobi.
So do you guys actually finish your appraisals by March?
Well, I have a date on March 24th with my dean, and I'm hopeful that we will have finished
Wow.
with the vast majority of our faculty. Well, I have 23 faculty, quite a number of the privates. I'm sure they will not have finished, but I will do my best to have finished for the
How
faculty.
nice.
Yeah. No, we just set some really lofty standards and we try and meet them. Yeah, appraisals is quite something. Yeah, it's quite something. I wrote to her. It was in 2021. I think I
You
did.
wrote to me, or I? Oh yeah, you did. Right?
Yes,
You
yeah. I just
congratulated
realized.
me on my
Yes,
position.
exactly. I just noticed there's a new chair. So this goes way back to 2020. 2020, I was here to attend a grants management training. Why? Because I'm interested in research. I'm trying to see how we can upskill and make sure that I understand what it is that I'm doing. So as part of that, I took a detour and visited the Department of Paediatrics. And I was warmly welcomed by Salman, Dr. Salman Kirma, Dr. Salman, and we had this long discussion. So when I saw now there's a new chair, I was quite curious, and that's why I reached out to her. I wrote to her, I said, and we became chairs at about the same time. We got our promotions to associate professor at about the same time. So
You remember
yes,
that
I
too?
know that. Yeah. So I just felt that we had quite a lot in common, and very good. Yeah. So we connected online. We've kept in touch sporadically since then, but we're both aware, of each other. So this was very nice to meet now in person.
I think there are solid plans. So I would want us to follow the idea of a trainee from here going to Nairobi for pediatric gastroenterology.
Gastroenterology,
Yes, and I
even
think
pulmonology, they're really interested
and
because we don't have
pulmonology, because those are the two things
we don't have.
that we want to develop.
Exactly. And we are also really interested in getting somebody trained in critical care, because one of these days, I'm really praying that we've received approval to do that. We will have our own PICU. We've never had one. Now, PICU requires different level of stuff. You can't have one critical care specialist. So we will need people, and that's the one thing you can do for us, because we don't have the fellowship program. And we need to have the faculty before we can have the fellowship program. So we are looking forward to leveraging on the fellowship programs you have, and you leverage on
do you
ones
guys have
that
an
we have.
FDA system?
Who is that?
So Pakistan AKU Hospital has an FDA which can be given to faculty who are interested in developing
Faculty
themselves.
Development Allowance.
Award. It's an award that covers, for instance, training or
I would say yes. Yeah, we do send people to South Africa, for example, for 2 years, and they're supported by the department, and then they come back and they're bonded to come back and give a service. So maybe they use the abbreviation as it is, but the truth of the matter is the support actually exists, and that's one of the ways in which we have been able to increase our faculty numbers and diversity. So
couldn't you send your trainees using that award? Rarely, I think it is
to critical
care
given to. The answer is yes, definitely. Yeah, no, I just need to start the conversation, and then once we have approval from the dean and the CEO, it says that you can't do everything in 1 year. So this year, our focus was on having a child psychiatrist, and also getting a pediatrician who's dermatologist, former resident, into the system. So I try and recruit 2 to 3 faculty every year. So yes, those are good ideas. Yeah. So critical care is one thing we can definitely leverage from your end. then you feel free to send your people for gastroenterology. Yeah, we have Prakash from Department of Medicine. Who is relocating to Nairobi, and so
So it's
It's Om. Yes, it's Om.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's Om Prakash. Yes, yeah. So, and that is good for gastroenterology in Nairobi.
It's good for him as well.
Yeah, and I think once we continue doing this kind of collaborations, in the final analysis, we lift each other.
Who knows, you may get a job in Nairobi, Mahi.
I don't know if she wants to do that.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, the whole of East Africa is just beautiful.
It's a lot more green than here, but we have all problems. When we look at your department, especially Surgery Pediatrics, we see what is possible. Your reality today is really our vision for the future. So this for me is like taking a leap into the future, Yeah. So it would be very nice to see. I hope you come with the vice chairs so that people can see these are real positions filled by real people. Because we've had this discussion on and on in Nairobi.
Yeah, I think even here when we were going for the vice chair model, the question was whether you have enough faculty to justify and enough, services. So then that's what we did. We built our services to justify the model. Yeah.
The work is there.
I'm sure it is. And sometimes you have to get the people before you do the work, right?
Yeah, the work exists. And I think when you're wanting to achieve excellence, you cannot have this broad overview about things. You've got to get granular. You've got to follow processes. You've got to have oversight. You've got to provide support for the people. And having just one overarching leader sometimes doesn't get the details attended to.
I agree. Especially if it's a leader like you.
Who's multidisciplinary.
Who is multidisciplinary. Who loves doing everything. Who loves doing clinical work. Who loves research. Who loves education.
Exactly. Yes, that's true. You're trying to excel in all these. Yeah, that's true.